What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick. We are at the Week 10 GT4 Championship in Misano. Not a track I know very well at all. We are in the Ginetta, a car I enjoy, but I am not particularly quick in. So yeah, bear with me while we go through this one. It might be a bit difficult to watch different places. As you can guess from the title, not the smoothest of races for me, but anyway, we had fun. So this is starting off our first flying lap here. We're coming through the T12 complex, hit the apex at 1, and then just completely sail wide for the apex of 2. Coming through the 910 double apex here, we catch up to a little bit of traffic. The Audi in front of us not really holding us up through the line here. Stick behind him down the back, not quite straight, into the hairpin at 14. We miss the apex, go pretty deep. Audi runs wide, limits the amount of runoff that's available to us. We chuck it in through 15, but we get a bit too greedy, run wide, invalidate the lap. Would have been a 147, so pretty slow. Coming here again, see if we can get a clean one. Miss our braking point completely and sail off, causing that lap to be invalidated within the first 10 seconds. So 122 left on the clock. Real emphasis for this one is just making sure we make it through so we can post some form of qualifying time. Not really paid attention to the pace of everyone else in the lobby at the moment. Making sure we keep it on track this time, nice and gentle. And across the line brings us to a qualifying time of a 146.1, otherwise known as very slow. So as you can see, the 146.1 there leaves us P16 for the race out of 21. Not fantastic. There is quite a divide between the top 12 and the rest. So yeah, it's going to be a tall order. Top 10 was really going to be the best that we were potentially going to be looking at, but it's really going to be quite difficult for that. So we're just going to see what we can do. Apparently we are rated as the 12th fastest car in the lobby. We'll see what happens. We go green behind the Aston Martin. We get a better launch than both the Merc and the Aston, but we get boxed in here. Not looking for any lap 1 heroics. We brake nice and early, nice and easy, keeping a lot of space off the apex on the inside. Go a little deep into 2, get a bit worried we might have run the Mercedes off track, but we just keep it through. Holding our position coming through here from the start. So nice and early braking before the 50 board, just making sure that we don't worry too much about running a little deep on the brakes. The Aston very slow through the corner. We sneak up the inside, keeping tight through here. Means we get a much better run out of 6 coming down this infield, not very straight. Apparently this kink here is called turn 7. I think that's very generous if you ask me. Looking for a braking point for 8, which is a 100 metre board for me here. Just as I learn the track, we keep the Aston tight on the inside. We try and get on the throttle as early as we can, but the Aston Martin just managing to keep the space there as we push forward through the 910 complex. We have an Alpine on the infield here, and we just make sure we get a nice clean run up the outside here. Alpine rejoining behind us. Let's see what happens. Just gets outbraked by the other Alpine behind him. A bit of an Alpine train here. He breaks in, takes the line. The other Alpine chances the gap on the inside that was never really going to stay there. Spins him round and gets a nice little tap from the Alpine that's behind him. So a little Alpine trio there going on. He gets away without any form of damage, just got to sort of drag himself off the grass. He slots in behind me, coming down the back, not very straight. Here we've got the Aston in front. He goes wide into T1. We get a big amount of oversteer. The Alpine that's spun coming around the outside here at T2. Just going to sit behind the much faster Alpine, see if we can learn a bit about this track. The Aston Martin going deep again. Alpine up the inside, keeping it tight and getting a good run out there, having to use all of the road plus some more to make sure he gets around that Aston Martin cleanly. We're still sat behind him coming through here. We just completely miss our braking point into turn 13. We run wide. We've got a line of cars coming up behind us, so we're just not able to slot back into the traffic without really impeding anyone in their line. So we drift around, we snap back inside another Aston Martin here. We've dropped all the way down to P17. So some work to do now because we've just dropped 5 places in the course of a couple of laps here. Alpine and the Mercedes come together. We benefit there up to 16. See if we can get some close onto the Merc. We stick with him, but we dip a wheel into the grass, completely mess up the braking into this one here. Holding it on the outside. We've got the Aston Martin on our inside, but he backs out, and we just focus on trying to get the best run we can down the infield, not very straight. Coming into turn 8, following the Mercedes on lap 5, he outbrakes himself completely, drifts off wide, keeps it on the tarmac so doesn't lose too much time, but does let us catch up a little bit here, coming through the 910 complex. So come to the end of the lap, braking for turn 13. downshifting accidentally third, we have an Alpine in the gravel. So that is P15. We make up P14 from another spin. And this time, missing his braking point again a few laps later, goes very, very deep into the gravel. We watch that with delight, as that is another position for us. It's going to take him a little while to get out of that gravel. We're back up to P13, so we've gained a few positions from quali, near where we're meant to be in this lobby, so it's not looking too bad. However, within a couple of laps, the Mercedes, clearly running faster than us at this point of the race, catches us back in. He is right behind me, coming out of the final turn, here to begin the next lap, braking down into turn 1. He looks up the inside, backs out of it, thinking better of it. This puts me all out of whack. I'm very, very slow through T2, struggling for grip here, and the Mercedes just sort of drives through me. So we're back to back, and he just pushes me around. Did talk to him after the race. He did send me a message. He said it looked like there was a gap and he just thought it was netcode. I'm unsure with it, but he's apologised. Yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. So we lose position with the spin. We've got some nice, very toasty tyres here, so we are just struggling to get around these corners, trying to get these tyres to cool down as quickly as we can before we end up losing any more positions to the Alpine behind us. Again, coming through T8, you can see it just doesn't want to turn. I'm getting a lot of lift off oversteer, can't get on the power, so we're dropping time. So I'm braking into 13 here. We follow the Aston Martin, he goes deep, I follow him off, but we get a big heap of oversteer, turning into it, braking, nothing able to stop this spin, and we just slide off into the infield. Cutting the corner off completely, stopping just to make sure I don't get into anyone's way. Completely my own fault doing that. Now dropped down a couple of positions, so every time we seem to make a little bit of headway forwards, we just get knocked back down again. It's just been one of those races. We stick close with them, just trying to see if we can maybe salvage anything. The Alpine getting close to the Aston, you never know. We might be able to salvage something from some form of carnage late into this race. We've only got a couple of laps left. Holding fire with times, 45s, 7s to 45.8s for all three of us, so I'm not losing any ground, but I'm not gaining any ground at this point. The Alpine here looking for a move up the inside of the Aston Martin. He goes into turn 8, keeps the Aston Martin out wide. He makes up that position, and all that squabbling is just letting me catch up a little bit. Gives me more hope here. This is really just a game of watching lap times. We're keeping close, we're a bit quicker than the Aston in front. We are on the penultimate lap, coming through T3 here. We just get a big heap of oversteer, knocks us back a little bit. We are following into the turn 10 here, and he just is a lot slower on apex than I'm expecting. Just delays me getting on the throttle. Nothing really doing at the end of that. Into the final lap here, just following close to see if there's anything I can pick up, but pretty much resigning myself here to a P14. Not a race to write home about. We bring it home clean. Through the last couple of corners, Aston Martin just holds on to it, and we bring it home. It says P13, but that's because a couple of people have dropped off of the server. And here is the final classifications. We are P14. Good batch of safety rating, because although it was a terrible race, we didn't really get too many off tracks and no real incident points, even though I was being spun around. It didn't actually trigger as an incident. So we are now officially out of rookie classification, graded bronze. So a few more races opened up for me to be able to participate in. But that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this one. So not anything special. It was a recipe in my own undoing, unfortunately. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you in another one in the future. Cheers. Oh yeah, and the old like, comment, subscribe.